scary. So let's just get on to this bit. Okay. At the time, I was in a foster home. I was 16, okay? And back then, I was obsessed with MTV. Like, that is what I did. I would go to school, I'd come home and watch MTV. Like, hashtag lame life, okay? Well, I was sitting there watching the new episode of The Hills, and I paused it on a little DVR. It was actually a TiVo. We were using TiVo. And I was like, you know what? I want some ice cream. So I went and got some ice cream, and that was like when my eating and like hardcore overeating was in like full force, and where it just, that's a whole other story all of itself. And the bowl of ice cream that I got was quite big. I took a lot, let me just say that. So I was sitting there eating it. It was vanilla ice cream, if you want to know. And I was watching The Hills. I was enjoying my time, and my foster parents were not home. But my brother was home, my foster sister, and my brother's girlfriend, which was my foster sister's best friend. So they were all hanging out in the kitchen. I was kind of just like chilling by myself. That happened quite frequently, might I say. So I was just, watching The Hills, and I finished my ice cream, and I want to say like 10 minutes later, I started getting like the horrible shivers. Like, I was freezing, and I was shaking, like hardcore. Like, my jaw was like, and I was like, so I went in my bedroom, and I got my blanket, which was a fluffy pink blanket, so it definitely warmed me up when I needed it to. And that wasn't working. And I was like, okay. So I put on 2 pairs of pants. That was like where my first go-to went. And my first also thought was like, okay, I ate too much ice cream. Like, instead of just getting like a brain freeze, I'm getting a body freeze. So I was like, whatever. So I put on 2 pairs of pants, and I was covering up with the living room blanket and my pink blanket, and that still wasn't working. So I started just feeling kind of like not right. That is really the definition of how I was feeling. I just wasn't feeling okay. I didn't finish the episode of The Hills. I just went straight into my room, and at the time, my room was in the dining room. It was closed off from the kitchen. That was really the only place me and my brother could stay in that foster home at that time. And since my brother and his girlfriend and my foster sister were all in the kitchen, they were right there by the room. And I was like shivering, and I just didn't feel right. So I got under my blanket, and I ended up putting on another shirt too. So I was wearing 2 pairs of pants and 2 shirts and my blanket. And I also had the living room blanket with me. And they were in there laughing and just doing their thing. And for some reason, like, I was getting really annoyed with them because I wasn't feeling okay. I was like, can you guys shut up? Like, I started screaming at them. And this video is so raw, you guys. Fuck. Like, they were just like, okay, like, what the hell? And so me and my brother were sharing a room at the time, and I took his blanket and started using his blanket, and nothing was working. It was really weird. And it was a pretty early night. As you guys know now, like, I don't go to sleep until super, super, super late, like 4 a.m. I was like that too then. Like, it's been an ongoing thing. My sleeping schedule is really off. And when I was in high school, which was then, I'd probably go to sleep about 2 a.m., but it was like 9, and I was like tired. I don't know why. I didn't do anything different than usual. So as I was laying in bed, I just like fell asleep. And I mean, I must have been sleeping for a while because I woke up the next day. It was the weekend, and it was probably noon, and that's a long time to be sleeping, and I was sweating my ass off, let me tell you. So I took off. My brother still kept the blanket on me, which was super sweet of him. I guess he might have slept without a blanket, I don't really know. I was knocked out. So I took the blanket off, gave it back to him, put the other living room blanket where it goes, and then I took off my extra pair of pants, my extra shirt, and I ran to the bathroom like the speed of lightning, and I just puked. Like, I felt so sick, like death. And I mean, I was puking probably every hour. I didn't want to eat or nothing. So that whole day was horrible. was on and off shivering, on and off sweating, on and off shivering, on and off sweating. I was puking and I had diarrhea and I couldn't eat, so it became bile and it was disgusting and it was horrible. I felt like someone ran me over and I was like, what is happening? And obviously we all assumed I had the flu. So I went to sleep that night and I slept for 2 days. It was probably, that's a little exaggeratory. It wasn't 2 days. Okay, I went to sleep that night. I slept that whole night. Then I slept that whole day. And then I slept that whole night. And then I woke up that morning. So it was like a day and a half. And everyone knew like I had the flu, so no one was like too worried. They weren't like trying to wake me up or anything. I do remember one point, my brother woke me up and he was just like, sis, are you okay? And I was just like, I'm fine, like, you know. And I didn't eat at all. And when I did, you know, sleep those day and a half, I puked a few times. That was the only time I woke up was to puke. And so when I woke up, my brother was there and he's like, what's going on? You've been sleeping, like, are you hungry? I was like, no, I'm fine, but my leg really hurts. Like, it really hurts. And he's like, oh, okay, well, let me look. And he's like, ooh, why is it so red? And I was like, I don't know. It's probably just because I've been sleeping and I've been laying on it weird. And that's literally what I thought. And he goes, no, I don't think so. That kind of looks like what our foster dad had. And I'm like, what? And I wasn't sure what he was talking about. So he went and got my foster grandma, which also lived with us. And she came and looked and she's like, ooh, we got to tell so-and-so, which was my foster mom. I don't really want to use names for some reason. So I was like, okay, like, why? And she's like, this is no good. And I was like, what are you talking about? And she's like, this is what your foster dad had. And I was like, well, what did he have? And she was just like, he was really sick. She didn't really tell me what it was. And I was just like, okay. And then I went back to sleep. And the next day, my foster mom was like, okay, we're going to go to the hospital. We need to get this figured out. And it was worse. My leg was swollen and it was like this hard, reddish, purplish, just like my whole calf. Like, I can't explain it. And that whole night I didn't get up, right? So when I went to get up, the pain I felt, I have never in my life felt such pain. I couldn't walk. Like, it took every single ounce of me to walk. And I hadn't showered since I got sick. So I was like sickly stinky, just being honest. And my foster mom's like, okay, well, we need to go to the doctor and you need to take a shower first. I could barely take a shower. I had to do the whole whore bath bit, if you guys know what I'm saying. I was in so much pain. I could barely get in the car, could barely get out, blah, blah. So we went, they run tests, and they said, you have cellulitis. And I was like, what? And how they explained it to me then was it is a infection in the blood. And they're like, do you have any scabs on your feet? Do you have any cuts on your leg? Like, what could have caused this? And I explained to them the only thing that I can remember happening was I stubbed my toe, my big toe, really hard on wood, like the day before I got really sick. And they're like, bingo. And I was like, huh? Because I stubbed my toe, I'm like on my deathbed, like, what are you doing? And they're like, yeah, that's pretty much what happened. So the issue is anyone at any size could get cellulitis, but the fact that I was gaining weight really rapidly at that age and me stubbing my toe caused like a little chemical reaction to happen. I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, don't know. At this point, I don't care, like, but somehow me stubbing my toe caused this to happen. So they're like, we're gonna put you on antibiotics and that's gonna clear it all away. You'll be able to eat again. You'll stop puking. You won't be in pain anymore. So what they did was they took a marker and they marked exactly the outline of my cellulitis. And I was like, okay, so antibiotics, I normally don't take medicine, but I'm literally dying right now. Because the doctor said people die from cellulitis frequently, all the time, because they don't get the help they need, their temperature goes too high, etc., etc., etc. So, got the outline, got the medicine, went home. I finally decided to try to eat. It was actually the next day, and I was, I've been drinking water. That's the only thing I was putting into my body, and the doctor told me that's not okay, because especially with this antibiotic, I was going to need it because it was going to make me feel even worse, because the antibiotic was going to make me feel nauseous. I was like, oh great, I already feel nauseous, cool, what are they trying to do to me? And so he's like, you need to eat. And since I was going to start taking that antibiotic that day, I woke up and nobody was home because my foster parents worked a lot, and it was a school day, but I couldn't go to school. And it was my first day taking the antibiotic, and so I was just gonna make a cup of noodle because I was not hungry. I was puking, I was in pain, I kept blacking out. This is when I started getting freaked out, to be honest. My temperature was 103, which isn't, that's high, that's horrible, but it's not that crazy. So when I got the cup of noodle and I warmed it up in the microwave, and when I went to take it out, I completely blacked out. I wouldn't say I blacked out as in passed out, but it's I almost forgot what I was doing. And the noodles and the broth went all over me. Boiling hot, might I say, just came out of the microwave. And thankfully I didn't get burned or anything, because I didn't have it in the microwave for too long. But that's when I knew. I was like, damn, I ain't feeling good at all. So I just went in the refrigerator, I ate a piece of bologna, I didn't even care anymore, and I ended up puking it all up, but I was taking my antibiotics. So I had to miss about a week of school. After about 5 days, we went back to the doctor, because the outline they made on my leg, my cellulitis wasn't getting smaller, it was getting bigger. I was feeling worse, I was eating less and less and less. I wasn't eating at all, but oh my God, when I got the antibiotics, like I said, I was trying to eat a little bit, but then I stopped, and the pain was getting worse. I was sleeping more, everything was just getting worse. And I went to the doctor, and they said these antibiotics are not working. And I was like, oh, okay. And they said, you need to go to the hospital. And for some reason, when they said that to me, I freaked out. I started hysterically crying, and I really don't know why. I think it's because the whole, people die from cellulitis, and I wasn't getting better, and, I hated myself, and I was like, why did I do this to myself? It wasn't even my fault. Everyone stubs their foot, it happens. And the doctor said that my temperature was 105, and that he didn't know how I was even functioning. So I was rushed to the hospital, and they put an IV in me. It was a whole thing. And they said that the IV that I had, they were giving me a stronger, different type of antibiotic. So I was gonna feel exceptionally nauseous, but they didn't even want me to eat. They weren't even focused on that in any shape, way, or form. They just wanted me to get better. And so they said that they're gonna give me that antibiotic through the IV just so I could have that in my system faster, because I guess through your vein or whatever, it gets in your blood faster. Obviously that makes sense. And my foster mom sat with me the whole time. And after I was in the hospital for a bit, they finally released me to go home, and they're like, you can't go to school, you have to rest for at least 2 weeks, you have to get better. They prescribed me with a different antibiotic, and they said, just keep eating, keep trying to get fluids in, and instead of taking the antibiotic once a day, you need to take it 3 times a day. And I was like, oh my God, because really the antibiotic did make me feel worse, really, really worse. And did. I slowly got better, and I started to eat more. I started to drink more. I was sleeping accurately. I was still in a lot of pain. I couldn't go to school. I missed about a month and a half of school. It was scary. It was one of the scariest things ever. And something that was actually funny about the whole thing, like, my leg was so swollen and so bad that when it was healing, my skin just peeled off, like in big goops. It was disgusting. It was horrible. And I ended up, I feel like I had an accident there for a minute. I actually ended up getting cellulitis one other time after that, nowhere near as bad. And my doctor at the time knew exactly what antibiotic to put me on, and I was able to actually get better less than a week because I knew it was coming before it came. Really weird. Like, I just finally knew. And my foster dad and my foster dad's brother both have had cellulitis, and that's how my foster mom knew like a lot about it and knew that I had to go to the doctor, and that's why my foster grandma knew like we need to get you checked out. And I'm just grateful it only lasted a month and a half. I'm grateful I only had to stay at the hospital for a couple days because my foster dad's brother actually was hospitalized for 5 months because of it. It's not something anyone should ever go through. It honestly scared me because when I was rushed to the hospital, like, I could have died. 105 temperatures, really scary. And I am very grateful for my foster mom to be there by my side the whole time. And yeah, like, it was scary. And it's definitely something I worry about frequently whenever I'm scratched on the leg or whenever I stub my toe. I'm scared to get it again because I don't have insurance and I don't have the money for antibiotics. I don't have the money to just go to the hospital or go to a doctor. But I haven't had it since I was 17. So, knock on wood, if that's wood. Oh, Twinkie, it was me, my dog. But yeah. So if you guys ever like get those symptoms, like a flu, and you can get cellulitis anywhere, actually. It could be in your fingers, it can be your head, your eye, whatever. Both times it was my leg. Same with my foster dad and his brother. And you can be skinny, you can be big. It doesn't matter. The fact that I am bigger is actually a culprit as to why I got it. I don't know why I got it the second time, but it was nowhere near as bad as the first time. So I wanted to share that with you guys. It was just a really scary, traumatic experience that I went through, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this story time.